These are 5 mistakes you should never make. Hi everyone, in this video we're going to cover some common mistakes that photographers often make without even realizing it. And the first one that we're going to cover is cropping. Cropping is a powerful tool. It lets us change framing, aspect ratio, or even straighten the horizon. And you could say that almost every good photo has been cropped at least a little bit. But moderation is key. Cropping is always best when it's as subtly done as possible. But here's the thing. The more you crop, the more pixels you lose, and the image quality is going to rapidly drop. If you crop too aggressively, your photo just won't be smaller, but it's also gonna lose sharpness in the details. And if there's any noise, cropping is gonna make it stand out even more. Okay, so what's the mistake in this example? Quite often, photographers shoot a photo horizontally, and then later, when they don't like the orientation, they crop it to a vertical photo. That's something that we really don't recommend. Even with today's cameras, a heavy crop like this can ruin the entire impression of a photo. That's unless you're shooting with a medium format camera like a Fujifilm GFX 100 or a Hasselblad. But if you actually care about image quality, please stay away from this. Now let's move on to mistake number 2, underexposing because of ISO. Some photographers deliberately underexpose to keep ISO noise down and then brighten the image in post-processing. We don't recommend this approach for 2 reasons. First, you risk losing details in the darkest parts of a photo. Shadows can merge into one solid black area that you can't recover later. And secondly, no photo is going to be completely noise-free. So when you brighten underexposed areas in post-production, you often end up pulling visible noise into the shadows that actually wasn't so obvious beforehand. Now, another mistake that happens in post-processing is going to be over-editing. And no, we don't mean complex composites or heavy retouching. We're simply talking about pushing sliders either too much to the left or too much to the right or just to any extreme. Typically, saturation or clarity. Oversaturated photos might look colorful at first, especially to someone starting out with editing, but they actually quickly become just quite cookie cutter and a little bit off. And pushing clarity too far as well can make photos look unnatural, adding halos and ugly artifacts. Now with clarity as well, there's the unwritten rule, and that is don't go over 30. Personally, I've never seen any photo look good that actually comes close, or worse, goes over 30. Just never looks good. Now the problem can also go the other way. For example, pulling shadows too far down can crush details into black, or lowering whites too much can turn bright spots gray, which often looks worse than a mild highlight. So be careful with sliders, don't overdo it, and sometimes less is actually going to be a lot more. A really good photo usually doesn't need much editing anyway. Now mistake number 4 is going to be about your camera, and that mistake is about deleting photos directly in your memory card. On the surface, it might seem like it's actually not really a big deal, but in the long run, it's less healthy for your card. Deleting files leaves file fragments behind, which can slow down writing and even cause errors, which results in risking the loss of your photos. A much better approach is going to be to input your photos, and then once you put your card right back in, you format it directly in your camera. This not only defragments the card, but is also going to optimize it for your camera. And if you use the card in multiple cameras, it prevents images from different devices from mixing. Now the 5th mistake is going to be shooting JPEG instead of RAW. There's nothing inherently wrong about shooting with JPEG, but if you shoot with RAW, you're going to have a lot more data, and with JPEG in post-production, you're not really going to be able to play around with that image so much. Now before you start throwing stones, no, again, JPEG isn't bad, but you just can't treat it like a RAW in post-processing. JPEGs are compressed, so it doesn't really hold as much data or dynamic range as a RAW file would. That means aggressive edits can create artifacts, muddy colors, or banding and gradients. And if you guys don't know the difference between JPEG or shooting in RAW and what those files are, we made a video about it, and you can also find it in the description. JPEG does have advantages though. It saves card space and applies camera color profiles and often reduces noise, but it's not made for any heavy editing. And of course, you can tweak it a little, but rule number 3 applies here again. Be extremely careful with adjustments. So that is 5 common mistakes that most photographers make. And if you stuck around for this long, we've got one more extra for you. And that is about how to hold your camera. A lot of people do it like this, whereas the correct way is to do it like this. Now, why is that? Well, because you got the stability of your wrist, you also have your elbow here against your chest, and it might even look a little better. So those were 5 plus 1 mistakes to avoid when you're taking pictures. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And even if you didn't like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to never miss another video. And we look forward to seeing you in the other videos in the future. Until then, take care.